Allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Motion to accept the minutes of the.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And the bills. Favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Wish to accept the fiscal officer's monthly financial report.
Second.
Question? Favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, old business. It's finished, we should be done.
No, we're moving. We held this off till Terry got back, so we have a full contingent here. The way I think I'm gonna approach this is, I'm gonna say what I have on it, what I think, and then I know this is pretty much Julie's topic. She can chime in with how she sees it, and the council can say whatever they want, and then in the end, we'll decide whether to do it or not do it. First of all, there's some equipment needed. This is about plowing the walking area up at the park, it snows. Need some equipment, a blade, a spreader for salt if we salt it, and a broom. Now, all three together, Dave had prices of about, you correct me, I'm wrong on this stuff as I go, Dave, of about 12,000, including all three. Dave tells me he thinks it'll take 2 hours for one man. Maybe not a two-man job, he said it's a one-man job, 2 hours.
That's per plow. Per plow. Yeah, depending on what kind of snowfall and how often you want it done during the snow event.
There's no question, it will lead to some overtime. Evenings, weekends, it's always gonna be overtime work. Is it enough overtime to break the village? No, but it is some more overtime. Probably a little bigger thing is it adds work at about the busiest time they have. I mean, there's probably no more pressing time for them than a big snow event. It creates an expectation that's not easily stopped. So once you guys decide to do it, if we do it, pretty much gonna have to stay with it. I found that Seville does plow all hard surfaces in the parks, hard surfaces only, and we're talking hard surface. Lodi plows nothing. In fact, they close their parks during the winter. Some questions. One is, if you do decide to do it, do you salt? I mean, you know, there's an additional wear and tear on the path if you salt. And the second thing is, if you do it, do we keep going back like we do with the roads and keep them clear and salt, keep them clear, or do you do it once and you're done for that event? Because you know that the time involved. Also, if you only do it once and you don't salt, you probably maybe even create an ice lake. I'm not sure, but that's all I have. Julie, fire away.
Fair enough, fair enough. Am I correct in thinking I've seen them out there, the guys go out there to empty the garbage cans still. I've seen them when I'm walking in the winter and the it's not 4x4, it's a John Deere
Mhm.
that they're out there. So they do make trips out there to the park.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so we're already making a trip out there. We do, correct me if I'm wrong, already plow and salt, the circle,
Yes.
right?
And well, the history behind that is the school used to sit over
Sure.
here. So the kids had to have, that's how that got started.
How'd the circle get started?
That's how the circle got started. We had to clean those sidewalks so they could walk over to school.
Okay, and do you salt?
Yes.
Do you,
Go ahead, sorry.
do you do it every time or just as needed?
Typically on the park circle, we do it once and it's a one and done thing.
Okay. Does the equipment we have now, do we need all new equipment or is some of the equipment that we're using to plow and service the circle and such, could we use those?
We
until-
use some of our existing equipment. Instead of a plow, we'll probably go with a snow blower and a broom, which we have, but you have to have replacement heads for the brooms, which are, $800-900 a shot.
Okay.
And the salt spreader now, the salt that we use around here is different than a rock salt that we need to spread. And the spreader that we currently have will not spread road salt, which is what we use up there.
Up there, alright. So my thought is to buy the least amount to get it done, whether it's broom and spreader and not necessarily replace everything at once. My also thought is do it as needed. I'm not looking to make it a priority by any means. It is the fact that we already do some, so in my mind, if you already taken liability of doing the circle, then we have this great opportunity and people use it. I do see it throughout the winter months that we should be doing it also. That's my personal opinion. Questions, comments?
Let's hear from other people.
So could we do this and possibly not incur any overtime? So let's say we got a snow event and the guys come in at 3 o'clock in the morning, they get their time in, they got all the roads done, all their primary stuff. And instead of doing the park, let's say that was on a Monday, could they come in on Tuesday and do the park?
After the snow event?
Yeah.
So it's a one and done thing?
Yeah.
Sure.
And so there's that option to manage expenses on the labor side. Because this is not a necessity, it's a nice thing. The other thing I'm concerned about is salt. Salt, it tears it. It tears the surface up, you put it on, it tears the equipment up, you put it in. And, I do clear my driveway and I clear my sidewalk, but I don't salt my sidewalk or my driveway because it just and I think,
Sure.
if we could clear the snow. Now, sure, sometimes you get slick conditions and stuff like that, but a lot of people clear their sidewalks in the village
And it melts.
and they don't clear and they don't salt them. Mother Nature kind of takes over with the sun and that kind of stuff. And, so I'm just thinking, Tom, you ever salt your driveway? But when you plow it and clear it, usually when the sun comes out, it melts all that,
Yeah.
So, I think there's some things about this that I like and I think we could do, but then there's other things I would be concerned about as far as for the additional expenses and the salt to me, when you salt it and then you come through with a broom, all that salt that you had down, you sweep it off to the side and then we got, now we had grass along it, now we just got mud in the spring. Are we creating ourselves more work because you got to go in and re-salt that or re-seed that and that kind of stuff. So.
I also think you must be talking, Rick, of not doing it on weekends if you're not wanting to incur any expenses.
I guess, yeah, that's the problem with snow. You never know what you're going,
Right.
grass, you're gonna mow them once or twice a week. Snow, you just gotta deal with it when it gets here.
Well, for that matter, like this last snow season, this was one of the largest snow seasons that we've had in how many years? So the likelihood of actually having to plow or clear as often as we had to do this last season are. What's that?
I like the idea year one. They would know better than me on this. Just using the brush, seeing how it goes. And then if we find out that's not adequate, then we adjust as we go. And maybe Aaron knows better than all of us. I mean, if we don't do it, do we
We talked about this last time.
close the park?
Well, we talked about it last time that you do incur some risk when you're moving snow. When you're moving the elements away, you've got a little bit of elevated risk.
Do we incur if we don't do it?
If you don't do anything, you don't have any elevated risk. But so that
It's counterintuitive, but from a risk standpoint, we're better off doing nothing.
you're creating a condition by moving any amount of snow. And so the point about upkeep, the point about seeds for the grass, and everything else, those are all good points. But if you're buffing an icy surface with your broom and you're not laying down salt on it, and somebody comes in and slips on this freshly buffed ice, I'm being dramatic, of course, but that creates a problem for the village. It does. That's the risk.
I'm not in favor of this, for that very reason. And with all due respect to Julie, she makes some very good points, and Dave has made great points on how we could do it. Rick has a good point on how we work around the overtime, but at the end of the day, what it all comes down to for me is creating that expectation. It's going to be done, and
I admit it's an inconvenience when we have a snow day. But this past year was a bad year. We don't have those all the time. Climate change rules are getting lighter and lighter. I don't see snow in the park as a big deal. I've walked in the park in the snow and it's not as pleasurable as when it's
a nice dry smooth surface, but it
doesn't stick around for long.
And
I don't like the expectation of the trees. I think that's the hard thing to keep up with.
and
Well, and just to clarify, the liability comes from the cleaning, not an expectation that it'll be clean. So if you cleaned it the first time and you have 4 or 5 people slip and fall, you're probably going to not do that much more the rest of the winter. And so, but without weighing in on your point, the liability risk, you have insurance for that too. But your risk that you're creating, or the condition you create, is a product of clearing off the snow. So if you guys said
expectations weren't blue.
right, exactly, yeah, if you say we're going to put a pin in it, we're not going to do that the rest of the year, you're not on the hook because you did it once. It's when you do it.
If you start doing it, it's that much more difficult to stop.
My only thought is that if it snows and then it snows again, we've got covered up, or we've got, whatever our liability, you have a liability because it's going to be soft or not soft, but slippery. And then it's going to snow again. And then you're going to have to, whenever we're able to get back out there to do it. Blacktop is going to absorb a lot of sunshine. And I think it's good that we have that up there. So it's an interesting question.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough issue.
It is a tough issue, and it's one that I've actually gotten several calls from the community saying that, why don't we do that? And, I've kind of always gone with the rationale behind it, but it's probably ever since we've done the leaf collection, the number one thing that I get questioned with.
We can debate this thing forever. Why don't we?
Yeah, well, if you gotta figure out how you're gonna put it into emotion, because it's hard to leave it just, we'll just do it once. Well, it snows and they do it, and
Well, we don't-
2 hours later, there's 6 more inches out.
We don't tell Dave.
How to clean the streets.
No, but we gotta tell him this. We gotta tell him this, what we're gonna do.
We know the expectation.
Thank you. Well,
We can't leave it to his discretion to when he wants to clean, no.
he just does it.
I'm opposed to it, but that's just my opinion, and I respect everybody's here.
I was
and
just
I'll get a motion here.
I was just going to suggest, if there's a question about a motion, the motion may be to incur the cost on the equipment,
Right.
whatever equipment the
Yes.
council's inclined to acquire, but that would probably be the appropriate measure, because you're right, once you get the equipment, it's up to Dave's discretion how it's deployed, so.
Well,
Oh, no,
It's not Dave's discretion. I
No,
mean,
it's not Dave's discretion, whether to do it once or 10 times that day.
I just mean if there's a motion, if there's equipment that's acquired for it, that's telling him that it's going to be used. If you were looking for a way to make a motion, that'd be.
No, no, the equipment is secondary to this. The important thing is, are we gonna do it and incur the whole business?
What we
The
need to do
equipment-
is set an expectation.
Right,
And
so,
we have an expectation already kind of out there, and that's village, the circle.
Right.
In the center of town. If we're gonna make a motion, I would say the motion is that we're gonna keep that same standard as we do, we already have that set
correct,
as the village circle. And and we don't tell Dave when to do that, he knows when to do that, and he knows what to do, and, you know, he plows it, he salts it, and they move on. And I guess if you're gonna make a motion, I would say, make the motion that we're gonna maintain the park to the same standard as we maintain the village park.
Then we have to solve.
Minus salt.
Well, I don't know, I was gonna bring that up, but
Then we have to solve. If we're gonna maintain it the same and not do what you said, have keep going around and creating more ice, Terry.
Well, I think the earlier conversation said, everybody outlined where the problem was, salt kill the grass and things like
Well,
that.
you don't want somebody to get killed out there.
No, we don't.
So I don't know. Put it on the floor however you want. Go ahead, Terry. You got it.
It's
well,
Julie.
yeah, no,
Julie?
so I would move that we maintain the park path with the level of expectation to be cleared without overtime and to purchase the equipment needed, such as a broom and a blade without salt
That's all. Okay.
and no overtime. That is what I would like to see happen.
Can you work with that, Dave? Okay.
Excuse me, we are not salting.
Not salting,
Not solving.
not salting.
What's your
Get a
opinion?
new blade, get a new
You
broom.
have any opinion on that? On what that creates, or how that be, or was it work? You're the guys who have to go out and do it.
We can make anything work once we have an ironclad expectation that needs to be met. From this chair, that's where I'm at on this issue.
I think we need a roll call on this.
I didn't hear a
You need a
second.
motion and a
There was,
second.
yeah,
so the motion is that we're going to maintain the village park walking path to the same standard as the village circle, with the exception of not salt.
Correct.
Which means they're gonna continue,
Much more.
you're just gonna, do you do that, do you continue to go through there, or do you
Because I
just do
was
it once?
The village circle?
Yeah.
We don't do the circle on weekends.
When you do it, do you just do go once, or do you keep going back?
No, we do it, it's a one and done, but we're putting down salt.
One and done.
So there is a difference there.
Roll call? Oh, somebody got a second.
Who made? was
Well,
that your mo-
I made the motion.
Rick
You
restated.
second?
the
I
motion.
read, yeah.
Okay, roll call, roll call.
Well, we don't have a second. We don't have a second.
Oh, bit second, okay,
You said,
okay.
okay, Terry,
Aye.
Val,
Aye.
Julie,
Aye.
Greg,
Nay.
Rick,
Aye.
Okay, we got that done.
All right.
That was just as
Next time we'll talk about this. will be
difficult as I thought. it would be.
Hopefully.
Right?
Okay,
that will be great. It won't snow. It won't snow one time next year.
resolution 25-11. Amend the public records policy to include police videos. I have a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? New business, yes, number one. Fiscal officer's retirement.
Yay. Snyder.
This is supposed to be a solemn occasion. Debbie. And you've just loosened it up, something awful. I know there's lots of things we could say of our 12 years with Debbie. Professional, knowledgeable, hardworking, really easy to work with. Always trying to improve herself and you only have to see what she's done with taxes in the time she's been here. Just gonna be a hard person to replace. We're in the process. But I know she's got bigger and more important things to do with her life at this point, and she's gonna do them, and I think we all wish her well. So can I have a motion and a second to accept her resignation?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No, can't stop her. The property insurance renewal, Mr. Bittner.
We have a renewal again this year. It's up about 9%. But we added some in the marine, which was about a 5 or 6% increase. We've added some property coverages. This increased the standard to about 5%. We were able to retain our umbrella and our umbrella limits, which is a real plus in today's marketplace. And would have liked to have a little bit earlier lead time, as well Mr. Oakes pointed out in our prior conversations. But Wickert's done a nice job. We continue to be with an A+ rated carrier and with Selective, and I would recommend we move forward with our insurance renewal.
Any questions for Terry? Have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 3, the records retention, records marked for discussion are attached, and we need a motion and a second to approve those. There was a meeting to finalize this. And it was Debbie and myself, Sue Ewers, and our leader over there. Can I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Questions?
You neglected to report that we decided we'd have to have another meeting too, which you were very pleased about, so. Yeah.
He's thrilled.
I understand. All those in favor?
Aye.
I love meetings, yes. Resolution 2025-12, Labor Day parking agreement to use the area across from the circle for parking for the car show. Motion to suspend?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to adopt?
Second.
Any questions?
Same as the one that we, same as that we.
I have not looked at it. Have you-
It is absolutely the same. Yep. It briefly didn't even have the dates changed, but we remedied that.
Way to be on it.
Well, did I get a motion to suspend?
Yes.
A motion to adopt?
We have that.
We already got that.
All
We
those in
just need-
favor? Lose my-
Aye.
Sorry about that. Item 5, Rick Keys presented a complaint that I put on the agenda because most of his points are valid, I should say. He,
I would say they're valid, but I don't know if I go to the extreme where we remove the trees.
no, I don't think we're talking about removing. No, I would, look, yeah, I read this and I called Rick immediately. And it was as if this was never written. I mean, he don't like, with the way it is, but he understands that we're not going to remove trees. We're not going to start prying up sidewalks, et cetera. So I put it on there because they certainly could use trimming, although that's to be an expensive operation.
Well, Dave, haven't you guys gone through there and trimmed up those trees?
We trimmed up the street side, but we don't have the equipment to shape the tree like it really needs to be done.
Can the lower limbs that impede walking underneath them, can those at least be removed?
Sure.
I think that would probably get at the worst of the issue.
I think that's where, you
The
guys have
walking
done
area.
that before, and I mean, right
Even
now,
the
I mean,
Car side.
the leaves are filling out, the trees are coming down, I just, you know, you guys haven't had much chance to even look at them, so. I would request that Dave,
I just find it odd that a homeowner that has beautiful trees in their front can't go out there and trim a couple of branches that are hanging down that people accidentally hit when they walk in that sidewalk. I mean,
None of them do it.
I know, I mean, but after I read that, I
Well, where
went down
he-
the street, I'm like, holy crap, I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
well, there are a lot, I went up and down on Thursday or Friday of last week. And a lady was walking, and she, you know, I watched her. As I approached her, she pushed one up, and when she got to the next one, she ducked under it, so. And Keys walks to work every day,
Yeah.
so he's struggling with that, so.
The only one I noticed was,
Farther down this way.
actually, where
Smoker Drive, where that wooded area is, right, where that brick ranch. They have some stuff growing out. You gotta go clear out
The
grass.
first 300 yards is bad too, here from the circle up.
Is that something we want to look at in the future in terms of actually fixing them up, trimming them up, right? I mean, like you said, the trucks trim them now.
I think on the sidewalk side, we should be limbing them off so that if they're impeding.
Yes,
Pedestrian.
Dave can do that, but the other would take money
Right.
and
Well, between the garbage truck and the snowplow, they pretty much trim them for us.
That's one way to look at it.
I don't think anybody,
Inefficiency.
I don't think anybody here is as concerned as Rick Keys. We're gonna move on. Okay. Dave will just raise them up a little bit. Does anybody else have any old or new business? Jason,
Yeah, I really don't have a report, just a quick update on the Greenwich Road project, the real estate companies in the process of scheduling meetings with the owners this week and next week, I assume, so they're moving along with the negotiation process.
okay, so they're scheduling meetings and
Time to schedule meetings.
any questions for Jason?
Any questions, let me know if you have anything else to report.
The cruiser update on May 19th, I got an email from Montrose Ford that the new police cruiser is gonna go into production on June 5th, the week of June 5th. So I've met with Hall Safety, Public Safety, who's gonna put the car together. We're gonna use most of the equipment off of the old car, the light bar, radios, the column we'll be able to use. Some of the things are we're gonna have to replace. The computer mount is gonna have to be replaced. The back screen is gonna have to be, it's gonna be replaced with a poly shield. And we discussed moving some lightings around and actually adding some lightings for public safety when we block roads, or, you know, if we have to block road for the fire department, to have the more lighting on the side of the vehicle so that it can be seen when the vehicle's turned in. They're also doing our annual laser and radar calibrations, which is nice because they come here and get that done. We don't have to send them out. I met with Medina Signs for the striping on those. The striping, I'm not changing anything on the striping. The striping is gonna be the same. I did discuss adding just a couple very small things. With the use of the drones, in many of our communities have drones now. I've asked them to put the car number on top of the car. This is for officer safety and obviously for tactical reasons, that we can move cars that can be seen by the drone. They'll be telling, you know, unit 903, you need to move 100 yards to your north, and that would help. So I've asked them to do that. The only other thing that I've asked them to do, and I asked them to do it in black and white so it wouldn't, stand out, is I asked them to put a little bit of to put the Cloverleaf Colt emblem on the back of the car, just a black and white one. I think it's important that we support the schools and support the you know, the kids in the community, and I want them to know we did that. So nothing outlandish, nothing huge or that's gonna stick out, but something that you'll be able to see. Like I said, I didn't want it in green where it's gonna flash out at everybody. I just asked them to do a black and white one, just a small one. They said they could do that. Started some weekend patrols. I think you guys probably have seen that. It's working out. I'm getting people coming up liking it, saying, "Oh, you're changing things up. You're coming out here on the weekends." I like to hear that. So, you know, it's good to hear. Statistically, I'm really happy with the statistics for May. We had a lot of officer generated things, but I'll just go over them. In May, our calls for service, we had 6 reports. We had 14 calls for service. We had no officer initiated calls. Everything was generated. As far as crashes, we didn't have any. That is always a good statistic for me. So, I mean, I don't want crashes in the village. Officer generated calls, we had 97. Vacation watches, we had 23 for a total of 120 officer initiated calls. I love that number. That's huge. We plan on keeping that number up because that means we're patrolling, we're checking the businesses, we're checking the parks, we're checking the cemeteries. So that number is great to me. We did have 14 assists, 9 to Westfield Fire and EMS, 3 to the Sheriff's Office, 2 to Seville, totaling 14. We made 10 traffic stops, and there was a citation in there. I don't know why it says 0, or there it is, I'm sorry. We had 8 warnings and 1 citation. So we did issue a citation. Once again, I don't want to be the village known for citations, but I want to be the village that is known for you don't want to speed through here. You want to keep the speeds down. I think that's it.
Questions for Chief?
Yeah, Chief, what citizens assist officer generated, I mean, that's a huge increase.
I think a lot of this comes, Paul has always been a very active person, but what really generates a lot of this is one of the things that coming from the sheriff's office that was commonly practiced there was logging everything you're doing. Basically making a log of what you are doing and recording that. So when I go up to the dentist's office, per se, and I'm gonna check the dentist's office, I'm gonna get on my computer and I'm going to put in there that I am checking the dentist office. When I go into the park, I am putting on my computer, I am checking this park. I'm logging just about everything that I'm doing, minus random patrol. So if I'm going into a cemetery to check that area, I'm gonna log that I'm checking that area. That way, the public and the council and the mayor can always see the activity that's being provided by the police department. You can always pull those records and see what you're doing. Even the 6 reports, if you look at some of the reports, you see that, that's a larger number than we've seen before, but that's also comes from the system that we use now to generate a lot of these. It's just as easy for me to write a report. So if I had a resident that was complaining that a sprinkler system got broke. I don't know how it got broke, but I'll do a report on it. That way it's documented. It only takes 10 minutes to write this report. It's done, it's documented, and we have an official record of it. I personally like the documentation. I like to be able to come back and see when a resident comes home from vacation and says, "Hey, how many times did you check my house?" I'll be able to pull that up and say, "Hey, I was over there every day," because that's my job. So I like the documentation. I think that's why you're gonna see the increase, and I don't think you're gonna see that fall off.
So they're right in saying they're community oriented policing, most of them.
Yes.
Okay. So we were to pull the records, I really fall under. The one thing and maybe it's just because it's summer, and I'm not saying you need to patrol for it, but if you happen to see it, keep an eye out for it. As we're walking the dogs, walking throughout the whole village, we're seeing a lot of the little mini liquor bottles that are getting thrown out of the cars, even on some of the circles. So, and it might not be people from here, it might just be the kids, dare I say, joyriding throughout. But since you said you are doing some different patrolling on weekends and whatnot, might just be something that we happen to notice. They're in the tree lawn, or they happen to be along the way on Greenwich too, so.
I probably haven't seen them to the degree that you have, but that's, I mean, that's information that I need to know and something that I absolutely will look out for.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Other questions? Thank you. Dave, Fire Department.
We had a count of 48 incidents for the month of May. 4 in Guilford Township, 1 in Harrisville, 1 in Lodi Village, 2 in Seville Village, 29 in Westfield Township, and 11 inside of Westfield Village. They were broke down between our day shift and our night shift of 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. We had 26 incidents. And from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m., we had 22. We gave mutual aid 8 times, 6 times to Seville, twice to Lodi. And we also received mutual aid twice from Seville. Department updates, EMS doesn't have any dollars there because at the time of the report, their system had not updated. So we didn't have a good information on that. MVA fire billing, we billed out $16,409.84. To date, we've received $745.62. Had 15 resident transports, 6 non-resident, and 0 mutual aid non-resident. We've not missed any calls for service. And under general, we donated 8 Kenwood portable radios and 2 chargers to the Career Center for their fire and EMS program. That process has been completed, and those radios were obsolete before we donated them to them. We did receive a check this week for $25,000 from the Westfield Foundation as a donation on May 28th. And Engine 1 had 2 seats removed on May 28th for a total cost of $1,080.20. We completed 7 fire inspections throughout the month of May within the township and village. And under equipment purchases, 1 pair of structural firefighting gloves for a cost of $102. And we replaced the chief's computer, which is a Windows 10 model tower, and we replaced it with a mini, one of those tiny hard drives, for a total cost of $398.99. We did have a resignation from Christian Vundering. And the Fire Association hosted an all-you-can-eat spaghetti dinner on May 17th, and they did have low attendance on that. And the only other thing I have that's not on here is hydrants are all completed except for a few streets, the side streets coming off of Leroy, and then Highland, Gerard, Ridge back in there. Need to be completed, and that should be completed tomorrow. So once that's all completed, I'll let Debbie and Chrissy know that everything's been completed within the village.
Questions for Dave?
Hey, last time we got together, the township was talking about having a kind of a joint meeting with council.
Yes.
Have they talked any more about that?
They did last night, and they're still kind of up in the air a little bit. They were gonna contact the mayor. Mike Schmidt was gonna contact the mayor and work on setting up a meeting. And the discussion was still kind of in the direction of EMS, but we don't know that that's the direction we're going. And I'm sorry, I forgot to mention on the last page, there's no updates to grants. That's on the last page of that report.
Other questions for Dave? Okay. Mr. Pittsburgher.
The May report, we processed 6.5 million gallons of wastewater. We filed the monthly EPA reports, performed all the required and operational testing, and performed all the routine equipment maintenance. Here's Village Hall. Started a fountain and serviced the lighting system. In the streets, we cleaned along the parade routes, mowed village properties, we mulched the village properties. Cemeteries, put the flags on the veterans' graves and set up for the Memorial Day activities. In the parks, we continue to prep ball fields and I issued 2 zoning permits.
Question for Dave.
Okay. Mayor's report. First of all, we had 1 ticket this month, went over to Wadsworth. Right with Mayor's Court, you'll just look down to my second statement of communications, Mayor's Court training, non-compliance. Ever since COVID, the refreshers are right here at Village Hall. They come in on the computer. And I swore we did it last year,
I swear we did too, but I can't find any documentation on it.
but we can't find anything and they say they don't have anything. So maybe I wasn't here. Maybe I just think I was. Maybe Debbie just thinks she was here. I don't know. But anyhow, I don't know what that means, non-compliance exactly. That means I can't hold Mayor's Court probably.
Right. And that's only an annual training, right? They only offer it.
Yeah, they said the next time I get it in October, they're gonna make me take the whole thing over. After 30 years of this, they're gonna make me take it. As if I never
Does
had
that
it.
vacate any,
I don't think there was
Fines.
any,
Just gotta go to Muni,
that he
Wadsworth.
issued in last year?
I don't think there was any activity.
No, it only, but only something from the first of the year.
Okay.
And, no. So anyhow, I need to make you aware of that. Sorry about that, but it's a fact of life here with me on this one. You saw my response to Mr. Cox. I have not heard back from him, so maybe he possibly understood everything in that letter.
Or not?
So anyhow, I wanted to call you that to your attention because those have been coming regular in the last few months, and I sent that also over to the insurance company, so they know where the village stands on golf courses in the zoning in this village, and I think I was clear in that. So maybe that'll bring it to an end. I don't know. Law director.
We have a BZA hearing, I think, that gets scheduled for next Tuesday. So maybe we'll have an update on that the next meeting. But other than that, nothing else to report.
Okay, Terry,
Nothing.
Val,
Nothing.
Julie,
Just a couple things. Sorry.
go.
I just wanted to say thank you to Craig and Val. I think you were part of the Memorial Day parade and service. I attended and it was very, very well, nicely done. So thank you. And then real quick, Nate from Medina County Park District. I believe I got the invite, but I want to make sure everybody else did for that sneak peek that's coming up in, is it Wednesday, August 27th, from 6:30 to 8:30. It's for the Rivendell Nature Preserve. So please let me know, because I might have accidentally typoed your email, but you were all invited. Forwarded if need be.
Already said.
Thanks.
Mr. Oaks, you got anything? You got that, Julie?
Yep, that's it. Thank you.
Mr. Oaks.
I agree with Julie that the Memorial Day festivities are great. And thank you both. And Madam Clerk, when roughly will we be needing to put our petitions together?
It's 90 days, right?
What's that?
90 days out.
And refresh my memory, Aaron, do we have to have our campaign committees established and everything before we can start? Petition?
No. I grabbed mine. We don't have to designate the treasurer, which is the campaign and everything, until we hand it in and file.
Anything else, Greg?
No.
Greg? Okay, the next meeting is July 1 at 7 PM. We do have an executive session tonight for employment of personnel. And that would be everybody at this table. Tom left, so it would have been him. So just everybody at this table.
I'm going to be out.
Dave, would you close the door when you go out?
Motion to convene
Motion to go
executive session.
Motion to executive